Well, hey everyone, it's Marcus and I'm zooming in the jungle room again. This time, holy moly, I am speaking to an amazing Australian music icon. He's a legend. So I've been following his career for so freaking long, way back to the John Butler trio, and then his solo stuff. Of course, now he's in Bustamento, and also there's an Outlaws and Offbeats tour coming to Adelaide with the incredible Melbourne SKA Orchestra. Of course.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
I'm speaking, of course, to the incredible Nicky Bomba. Nicky, how are you?
Hi, I'm good, brother. How are you? Everything good?
Oh, not too bad, except I'm going to tell you right up the front. I just got back from Bali yesterday and I've totally lost my voice. So I'm going to let you do all the talking today. Awesome.
That's okay. No problems at all.
I've practically got nothing left.
Bali,
Hey,
the same thing happened to me in Bali. I just did the same thing. I was
oh,
just there. I've got a studio there now. So it's
oh,
like, yeah.
heavens,
Temperature.
I got back from Bali into the Adelaide cold, and the first thing I did, like literally the next morning, was book my flights again for October. I loved it. But
Yeah,
anyway,
too.
that's enough about me and Bali. Hey, let's
Yeah.
talk about your extensive career because there's so much going on. Like I said, starting of course, in the John Butler trio, many decades ago now. But you are celebrating the 21st anniversary of the iconic 26-member group, the Melbourne SKA Orchestra, which is just about to do an Australian tour. And like I said, it is coming to Adelaide. It's called Outlaws and Offbeats Tour, and it's appearing at the Hindley Street Music Hall on Saturday, the 19th of October. I'm going to be there, front row, going to cheer you on. You wouldn't even believe. Let's talk about that tour. What's going on? What can we
Okay,
expect?
well, I mean, 21 years, which is an amazing an achievement, and there's still so much vital, youthful energy around the band, and it's an amazing band to be in. On paper, it just doesn't work, but there's something that in life, something's happened where the chemistry or whatever it is comes together, and it's go, this is actually bigger than us. This is like something that we can kind of curate and move with, and the energy itself it's got this internal perpetual thing about it. So the band is an amazing a collection of amazing musicians that come together with initially the love of ska, and
Yep.
ska is very much a community oriented genre. It's there's a lot of energy, there's a lot of positivity, a lot of joy, and there's a bit of danger. So and then you've got that many people on stage that don't fall into the normal category of what an orchestra would be. It's more like a circus. And so there's things that happen on stage where you think it's going to fall off the edge and it doesn't. And, so that energy in itself is kind of a spectacle to behold. And I feel privileged to be the kind of the band leader and the captain of that. So we're doing a national tour. We've got a new single out, and it's not the best time in the world for musicians as far as trying to get people to come to gigs, because a lot of festivals are falling over this year because people are reluctant to buy tickets straight away. So we encourage people to for a band this size, it's a healthy thing when you do get the tickets early, because invariably there's a mad rush at the end and people miss out. So we try to kind of put that thing as like, if you've got a vibe, it's an amazing show. And we don't offer a money back guarantee, but we probably should.
It's just the way of the world now. But hey, so all 26 members are doing the full tour?
We're probably doing, when we go interstate, it probably gets down to about 22, but that's still a lot of people on stage.
That's still a lot of people on stage.
When we're in Melbourne, when we have no accommodation, catering, or flight expenses, we can do up to 30.
Well, I'm in Melbourne actually next weekend. I don't know if you're playing in Melbourne next weekend, which is, I can't remember the dates. I'm there now, but I'll be looking out for it just in case.
Yeah.
So you touched on the new single. You didn't say the name yet, but it is John Wayne, and that's going to be out on August the 9th. And that is self-penned. You wrote this. This is an original piece. What's the inspiration behind John Wayne?
Well, I mean, you as a musician, you'd be writing songs all the time and always kind of coming up with ideas and everything. And I'm constantly, on voice memo on the phone, just daily, just a little snippet of an idea, a chord progression or something. And for about 6 months, a year ago, everything that I was coming out ended up with John Wayne. What's that, you know? And then something be something slower. John Wayne. So I don't know why. It was sort of a zeitgeist thing. I don't know what happened, and I thought, okay, well, that's coming up too often for me. I'm tapping into something I don't know. Let's find out the best version. So I had like 6 different ideas with the word John Wayne in it, but I wanted to write it for the orchestra, and having horns and the John Wayne spaghetti western ska, you know, bit of danger, and also the whole kind of John Wayne cowboy thing is very much connected with the ska genre, as in the ska became reggae. Right, ska was like the number one. It was mento music, calypso, then ska, then rocksteady, then reggae. And so in the late 70s or mid 70s, the famous film Harder They Come, from Jamaica, was based on the cowboy kind of, you know, outlaw, rude boy kind of thing, where, you know, you had to survive. Just to survive, sometimes you had to be, you know, a bad boy and that type of thing. So that kind of mentality was there, but they totally embraced the cowboy culture. And there's many albums, you know, How the West Was Won, and you know, where they embraced the ethos of it. So it wasn't too far removed from the whole ska thing with the John Wayne. And then, you know, I thought, well, why? You know, what does John Wayne represent? You know, and for me, it was like, it was synonymous with the States, for example, especially the United States and Hollywood. And I grew up, you know, loving America, and still do, with many of the things that they've brought, you know, amazing music and concepts and everything. But the whole gun culture and the whole macho John Wayne thing and everything was like a thing of, like, you know, the 50s, if you like. And even though it's so non-relevant now, the whole kind of gun culture macho thing seems to have kind of still threaded its way through, and to the point of, like, you know, the day I gave it to my label and to the band, it was the day that Donald Trump had the assassination attempt. And so for me, it was like, wow, this is like I've somehow, you know, tapped into that mentality. And having toured the States, like with John and everything, the ability to walk into a Walmart and being able to buy an item that's designed to kill a person freely, you know, and so that kind of, you know, flipped me and freaked me a little bit, that was so, no, this is still part of our thing, that we must have this right to be able, you know, and I never got that. And you know, to see people walking with guns in the street and everything was quite alien to me, and I don't know why it is still infiltrated. I mean, I'm sure there's you know, books and philosophies and theses on this type of thing, but it didn't make sense with modern humanity. And where we are now, you know, with our knowledge and our information and our technology, and there's still 1 foot, you know, and I also connected to, you know, the aggression from Russia, you know, for example, and even the whole Israeli conflict at the moment, and Gaza. You know, it's the gun, it's the, you know, it's just the power, and so the song is a song of sympathy and empathy with that. You know, the chorus says, yeah, you had the world there at your feet and you earned the Hall of Fame, but now we're hearing gunshots in the streets. John Wayne. So, you know, so it's and the opening line is, your spurs are old and rusted, your Stetson's got a stain, you're all fresh out of bullets. John Wayne. So for me, and that matches with the social content that ska has always had a little bit of a political edge, you know, like with the Specials and with Toots and the Maytals and Prince Buster, you know. So so for me, it kind of all made sense. And then making sure that it had a groove that was synonymous with what ska is, because, you know, there's many different type of grooves. You could slow it down, but I wanted that kind of that the horse was running wild.
A bit of swagger. Yeah.
Bit of swagger, exactly. Yeah. So that was really how that whole thing came together. And you know, we it's hard for us to get together to rehearse because a lot of us live, you know, in other interstate or timetables. So it's very much done like we did it with COVID. You know, we'd start with a general kind of demo, and then I'd send it out to people, and they'd send in their parts and vocals, and we'd go, no, try this, you know, do this, and then we'd have some Zoom meetings, and I would mix everything, and then because that's my world as well too. I love that, the production world, and I've got a beautiful studio where I live. You know, it's as good as the Beatles ever had it, so there's no excuse not to make, you know, some beautiful things there. So yeah, and it was energizing, you know, and it's really just a whole week of just in that world of John Wayne and rewriting the lyrics. I wanted to get, I mean, that's the thing with lyrics. You want to get that right where you say a lot with a little. And then that was about the fifth or sixth draft when it came to lyrics to kind of get that right. And so I was really happy with and the chorus line really just came right at the last minute. I was driving when I was able to drive. And yeah, so yeah, it's good. It's always a bit of a work in progress, and then you have the icing on the cake, and you go, yeah, that's good. Let it go before you spend too much more time in it. You know,
it's very much the song of the times, really, isn't it? So I mean, it's just perfectly timed. I bet you can't wait for it just to get out now. Like we said, and August the 9th, which
August
is
9th,
a week
yeah.
away. You know, have everyone listen to it and, you know, appreciate the art form that you've put out there to the world. Hey, your illustrious career, will be the solo work, which is huge. In fact, you've only just brought out your second solo album called Food and Shelter. But, you know, Bustamento, you know, and of course, the Melbourne SKA Orchestra. But, you know, why I mentioned that, the illustrious career with all these, you know, versions of music put out there to the world, is that something else you're very much known for is your incredible art from the album covers. You know, what you put out there visually is just so engaging. I don't know if anyone's seen all of the catalogue of work that you put out visually, but it's outstanding. Even the new poster for John Wayne, or even the, you know, Outlaws and Offbeats Tour artwork, just exceptional. Who does the artwork? Do you have much say with what goes on with the artwork and the visual representation of that?
Very much so, yeah. I mean, I have another kind of thing that I do. I've done a series of paintings and had an exhibition a couple of years ago, using kind of intuitive art. So I've always been into that world, and so when it comes to the artwork, I have an amazing guy that I work with. I found him by mistake. His guy, his nice called Jareth Sweeten, and he's from Geelong in Victoria, and he just from the word go. A lot gets lost in translation with art. I could say, oh, look, I'm imagining this type of thing with kind of this reference and everything. And then sometimes you get things back from an artist and it's like, no, that's not what I had in mind. He goes, oh, that's what I interpreted as what you said. And so with him, it was from the word go, it was like exactly what I said. And what he came back was either exact or better. And so we have this really good working arrangement that, you know, I try to be really succinct, as even now giving him examples from you know, Pinterest or whatever, now just kind of going, it's this vibe and everything, and then he goes, oh yeah, I know what you want about, I've got this other idea, and it's quite a active, creative, joyful, and we can get to things very quickly, and he's an amazing artist in his own right. So I've been very lucky to have a co-conspirator with all that stuff. And we did this thing with the orchestra. We had 3D. It was Sierra Kilo Alpha, which was the album that we won the ARIA award with. And we wanted to be with the 3D glasses, you know, and normally people go, ah, man, that's too hard. And he's going, yeah, great, okay. You know, and he gave, and it was great. So, and he knows this, you know, Food and Shelter, the Bomba thing, the Bustamento thing, the orchestra thing, very separate entities in themselves, and not, you know, brush with the same thing. There's quite a distinct flavour that he gets, and I love working with him, and I can see, you know, many more things kind of happening with that.
So exciting. You know, I mean, we were talking just off camera earlier, you know, that you feel just so charged at the moment. You know, you've had, you know, such a lengthy career, but you feel like there's still so much more to come and so much more to do. So, you know, the opportunities are just endless, and we can't wait because everyone adores you. Hey, so let's go back a little bit in time to 2003 when the Melbourne SKA Festival first ignited and, you know, was created. What was the inspiration behind that for you?
Well, a lot of that feeling is why we started, is why the band has, I think, existed for so long, is that we came together in 2003 to celebrate the 40th anniversary of ska. Now, in 1963, which is when I was born, so I'm a ska child, there was a famous hit called My Boy Lollipop by Millie Small, you know, yep. My Boy Lollipop, dum, 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 a classic Jamaican swing song with a heavy upbeat, and it was definitively a ska song. And then Bob Marley and the Wailers came out with Simmer Down soon after that. So that year was a defining year for ska, where it brought Jamaica onto the musical map. It was the #1 hit all around the world. And even though viewed as novel at the time, it was a very significant change. You know, played in the UK, played all around the world. So 40 years later, we just wanted to just do a tribute night to ska. Yeah. So we thought it would be like a small affair. Maybe we'd put the word out, and maybe you end up with a small band. And so myself and a guy called Mohair Slim, who's a local DJ here on a radio station, we put the word out. I said we're going to do a thing at the Gershon Room in St Kilda, and we were inundated with how many people wanted to be involved. It was like, wow, I didn't know it was like this big. So we had so many musicians to say, well, let's make it an orchestra. Let's call it the Melbourne SKA Orchestra. And we booked the gig at Gershon Room, completely sold out. About 300 people turned away, and the night was electric. It was and it was all out of the love of the music and how it had affected us. Because, we all kind of got into ska by the second movement of ska, which was a thing called the two-tone movement, which happened in the UK with bands like the Specials, Madness, Selector, British Beat. That's how I got into it first. And it was a real sense of like, yeah, this is, you know, I like how the guys dress up, and it's sense of kind of a unity and a tribe, and you wanted to be, you know, you felt part of it. It was like, yeah, this is my crew, and a sense of belonging to whatever it was, you know. And I remember being, you know, flying the flag for it, and everyone going, yeah, what do you mean? What's this reggae? You know. But then when I got into that world, I realized that a lot of the songs they were doing, they were basically cover bands of what was happening, what happened in the 60s, in the first wave of ska. And I didn't know about this. And so when that can of worms opened for me, it was like, wow, mind blown. Now then I had a real kind of lineage of a chronological kind of thing of like, I can see how that developed, and how the integration of the two-tone of the Jamaican immigrants, you know, how it started this thing. And so we were all connected with that level, because we all got into it the same way. We all got into the two-tone thing first, and then learnt about ska later. And we all were totally on the same page with that. So it was like an immediate brotherhood and sisterhood, you know, of that developed. So after doing that gig, we thought, this is special. We got this, and the song I wrote last year on our 20th anniversary was all about that. It was called We Knew We Had Something Strong. So it was about being 20 years. I've got the grandfather clock in the background. Can you hear that?
I love it. Yep, I can. Old school. Awesome.
Yeah, it's this is my parents' place, and my father passed away a couple of years ago, but he loved his grandfather clocks, and we grew up with that every night, you know, waking every quarter of an hour, the things going on. So there was a real kind of camaraderie, and the song that I wrote last year, 20 years, was, you know, it was 20 years ago to the day when the orchestra started to play, and the song was pretty much a story of exactly how it happened. You know, how we got a record deal and toured the world and got ARIA awards and the accolades and everything. And so, so that was the fire that started. And for about 5 or 6 years, we just did that every year, just once a year. And then we got I kind of, through playing with John Butler at Blues Fest, you know, I talked to the organizer and I said, you know, you should probably try to put our ska band on, you know. And then we got asked to play. And from that gig, we got offered a recording contract, but they just wanted us to do covers. And so we said, no, we're going to write an album. Let's go original. And they went, oh, if you want. And that's how it all started. Really, 2000, and like by the time we released it was 2010 or something, or 11. So it took us kind of that long to really get our feet. But that's really when the band kicked off. And I took over the band from with the DJ. I bought the song. I bought the band name from him. You know, so it was pretty much my thing then. And then from there, we just you know.
Look at you guys now, seven albums deep. Hey, curious question for you. Out of you know, from 2003 to, you know, 2024, 21 years later, how many of the original band members are still in the orchestra now?
About half.
Wow.
But a lot of the other band members are still around. They're just, what's happened is generally other people have joined,
yeah,
and wanted to be part of the band,
yeah.
And you know, maybe 25% have moved away overseas. You know, no one's ever been kicked out of the band, and no one has ever kind of gone, "Oh, I'm leaving. I don't want to do this." It's just simply that, you know. So we've got 45 people on the books right now.
Yeah, man.
So if someone can't make it, we'll go next, you know, type of thing. And sometimes when we go overseas, we take a smaller contingent because the flights are expensive. And we get players from overseas. So we've got a whole crew in Mexico. We've got a whole crew in the UK. And we've got a crew in Malta. And we've got a crew in the States.
You need a crew in Bali.
Well, we just played Bali.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant.
We just did the Bali Spirit Festival.
Oh my God, that would have been huge.
And we recorded it. So we've actually got a live footage from there that we're going to be releasing next month.
Oh, I'm keen. I want to see it. Now, hey,
yeah.
What songs just come on in the background over there? The Flintstones from your TV theme album. It's so quirky. You guys are actually known for a lot of quirk factor to your music as well. And like, you give people something they're not quite expecting. Like I said, the Flintstones at the moment. But I mean, well, to start with, that album's incredible. You know, everything from Star Wars, you know, to the Flintstones. But another thing that you kind of threw into the mix just before the John Wayne release, your release before this one, was with the Black Sorrows, Taylor Swift. I knew you would struggle, which is banging. It's so cute. It's a really cool song. Hopefully you do that one on the tour. But what ignited the passion to produce that song?
Well, that was the Joe Camilleri thing, because his I've been working with him for as long. I mean, I've known him when I did my first release as a solo artist with a band called the Overtones. We're talking 1999 or, you know, early 2000. He heard the song on the radio, rang me up and said, "Fuck, that's really good, Nick. I love what you're doing with that type of thing." And we're both Maltese, so we had an affinity immediately. And I started working with him. I did a couple of albums with him. I started working a lot in his studio. He got me to do sessions. I toured with him a little bit. I actually bought the recording console that he had in his studio, which is I have at my place, which is a Neve console, which is like a classic vintage thing. So we had a big connection. We still have for many years. We did an album together called Limestone. I put in 6 songs. He put in 6 songs, and so we always keep connected. So the radio station contacted him first and said, "Hey, you know, they've asked me to do this Taylor Swift thing," and I left of center. I normally wouldn't do it, but you know, there's one song I reckon we could just really tear up. And originally it was just going to be me and him, but he said, maybe, you know, let's make it a Joe Camilleri and the Melbourne SKA Orchestra. Let's open it up. Yeah. So it was really like he called me on the one day. In 3 days' time, I'd kind of got a couple of guys to put some stuff together and send some stuff in. It happened very quickly, but we wanted it to be tough. And it's normally something we wouldn't do, but you know, these things are quirky. These things are. We probably won't do it on the tour unless Joe is going to be a special guest, because his voice really makes that song. Yeah, yeah.
Look,
and I love the guy. I love the guy's energy.
Oh,
Joe is a hero.
A bloody icon. Hey, I'm gonna call it. And that single I was just listening to yesterday, it's very much got a bit of an Amy Winehouse vibe to it. You know, that bit of rough and guts kind of element to it. I think it's just incredible. So it's great.
And that for me, from a production perspective, was really interesting, because you know, when you listen to the original and we go, let's just get far away from this as possible, and let's just get gritty and everything. And I love Amy Winehouse. Mark Ronson's an amazing producer. Yeah, amazing.
Now, I have got the basic version of Zoom, and I've just been given my 5-minute warning that it's about to cut off.
Oh,
okay. I really should upgrade one of these days, considering it's my week. But hey, let's talk about the tour really quickly. Let's wrap up with that. It is touring all around Australia and is climaxing. I'm so excited. It is climaxing in Adelaide on Saturday, the 19th of October.
Nice place to have a climax.
Oh, I know. So what better place to have a party than over here with me? And you're not going to have your license, so I'm going to have to drive you around. Oi.
Exactly.
But I'm prepared to work hard for it. I'm so excited. Nicky Bomba, you are just an incredible soul. The energy that you permit is infectious. I could talk to you for hours. And indeed, after the show, when you get to Adelaide, I am so sitting down and having a good old chinwag with you.
Let's do that.
I wish you all the best for August the 9th with the release of John Wayne. And of course, your new solo album, Food and Shelter, which has just come out recently. And I just want to see you keep on being a creative individual in this crazy old world of ours.
That's what I plan to do. That's what I'm putting into my cosmic simulation.
Yay. Nicky, what an absolute pleasure. And I will see you in Adelaide just in a couple of months.
Bless. Thanks for the interview. Good fun.
My friends.